Hi, this is my video entry to the competition that has been run by the channel IN TOJ. Now that channel is run by Tony, and he has set a competition because he has reached the level of 1,000 subscribers, which is great going, and congratulations to him. His channel is a really good channel. I've watched it for quite a while, although I've only just subscribed to it on this channel. And he does specialize in things like unboxings, and he does car boot hauls as well. I do think that some of his unboxings and some of the special editions he gets are really amazing, and some of them I haven't got no idea that he exist. And he goes through them, and he takes you through a little details into like the packaging. He opens them all up and shows you what's inside. And I like his delivery in his videos, and I think that he seems like a really good guy. And because of the prizes that are getting released, that are up for grabs in this video, you'll understand that it's not just a regular sort of pound shop Blu-ray. These are some great stuff, so I'd urge you to check out the link down below and subscribe to his channel. You'll not be disappointed. Okay, so the questions that he set is, what is your favourite horror scene, or what is the horror scene that scared you? Now, for me, as Tony says, I don't really get scared by horror films, so I'm going to have to go way back when I used to watch horror films on TV. They used to be on the Friday, Saturday nights, very late at night, and my dad used to let us watch anything I wanted to. So this first one that really did freak us out is a 1959 film called The Tingler. Now, I haven't got this movie, although it is available on Blu-ray. I will be getting it, I just haven't got round to it yet. I did bump into it recently on Amazon Prime, so you can see it on there. It's quite a good, I think it's an HD print on there. Now, when I watched it, I hadn't seen it since them early days, and I think I might have watched it 2 or 3 times back on TV, but never have I watched it on home video. So when I watched it this time, I was thinking to myself, will it be scary, or will I've just imagined half the stuff that I saw in there? But I've got to admit, it is quite a little sort of creepy little film. There's a couple of scenes on there, so if you do see this film, there's a couple of scenes in it which are quite, shocking, and you will know what the scenes I'm talking about. They are quite startling, and for that, I do thoroughly recommend The Tingler. And if you know, it's just a story about a spine. Vincent Price thinks that when you get scared to death, your spine can turn into this sort of beast that goes killing people. And so you have that part of the story. Also, there's a woman in there who is mute and she can't scream. So I think he sets about trying to see if she can die and not without screaming, what happens to her. And it does get a bit cruel in parts, I think, towards this woman. I think I remember that from when I first watched it way back in the 70s, that I did think that this woman, who was very mild and meek, and she was also mute, she couldn't express herself, and she did actually get a friendship going with Vincent Price, who did this despicable thing to her, or did he? So without going too much into it, I do urge you to watch it. It's a good film, and it is quite, for 1959, it's not a bad little film. And those scare bits in it, you will kind of see what I was on about. Just imagine yourself as 6 years old watching them in the middle of the night with the lights off. So another film that's probably the only film that's ever given me nightmares, and I remember being petrified at this film, not so much when I went to see it, because I went to see it with, say, like family on a Saturday morning, like a Saturday matinee, because in the films in the early days, you can see, you'd see everything. You didn't really seem to, they didn't cut much out and stuff like that. But this film here is being released by 88 Movies. It's from 1976, and it is grisly. Jaws with claws, basically. And there's a scene that, without giving too much away, there's a scene where somebody gets attacked off the bear, and she gets sort of raggled in a tent or a sleeping bag, and that stuck in my mind. And going back to it, I couldn't remember what the scene was about. I couldn't remember any part of it. I had this, must have been a forced memory, that she was getting her head pushed through the window in a camper van or a caravan, but that didn't happen. That must have just been in my mind. But the scene there, and most of the scenes in here, is quite gruesome, actually, for it being a 15. And also, I think it was an A or a PG at the time when I went to see it at the cinema. And this is the 88 version, which has got a flippable cover, which I did flip it. And also I have got a rare double dip on this title. This version here, this is the 88 version, which is great. And this version here has a slightly better print on it. I must admit it is a better print. So I do like to watch this one, but I do love this one for the slip cover. I don't really like the double dip, but in this time, on this thing, I will, you know, accept it. And also this was gifted to me again by a good friend, my good friend, Holgoth73. So I appreciate what he did to give me this film. And also it is a little bit of a jump up from here. So it's up to you what you want to go for. Do you want the slip, which is probably, you can't get it anymore, or do you want the better version at this moment? That's up to you. So yes, so also Tony asked if you can recommend a film. Now, I have done a review for this film. I've talked about on my channel a few times, and also I'll leave a link down to my review that I did of this release. And if anybody who knows, has looked at my channel, will know which one I'm going to pull out here. And it is the 2014 film Extraterrestrial. I got this for £1, brand new, and you won't quite believe how good it is for the fact that it looks like a kind of rubbish, cheap knockoff sci-fi, you know, nothing film, but it's far from that. And if you look at my my review of it, you'll understand why, because I go into like a lot more detail of it. But this is the film that I would say is past it. I didn't know anything about it. I picked it up from a pound shop, and it was just lying around for ages before I decided to watch it, and I didn't have any hopes for it, and I was very surprised at how good it was. So that's my recommendation as a film. I suggest you check it out, because it might have slipped under your radar. I don't know if it slipped under Tony's radar. He's got a load of films, so he might be aware of this, although it might be one of the ones that, because I don't even know if I've even seen it in HMV and things like that, but never mind. So that's my recommendation. And also a couple of shout outs here. Now I'm going to shout out to a fella called Movie Worm, and a channel called Movie Worm, and I got a great shout out of him the other night on his video, which he did for his entrance into the competition. And I've got to admit that obviously I was blown away by that, very, you know, unexpected, but also I do like to recommend his channels in other videos when I do it. I've name checked him quite a few times, because I do think that a lot of the things that I like and think about is quite reflected in his channels, and a lot of his ideas, which I see him do, and I think to myself, that's a great idea. I would like to incorporate in my channel. I'm not stealing, I'm just lending. Big difference. But anyway, you know, he's a great guy, and we do chat on the comments and that, and he has given me a great shout out. But irrespective of that, it's a good channel to watch, and I do think that he's got a great delivery. He's a Scouse. Everybody likes a Scouse accent, and also he has he's got a good take on the films that he watches. He does bring you up in minute news. He does talk about he does put a spin on this stuff, which makes you think, I want to check that out. He's done his review of The Mandalorian, which has swayed me into watching it when I was thinking on the fence, thinking, is it all right or not? So I thank him for that. So I do urge that you check out Movie Worm, and I'll put a link down to his competition video, and you can go and check his channel out, and please subscribe to him. He's got loads of stuff, and he's going places. Okay. And also somebody I would like to shout out as well is a channel that I've just bumped into, and I was really impressed by it. It's a channel it's called Movie Collector. Now it's a fairly generic term for that, but what this fella, and he's called John as well, so he's a canny lad. What he specialises in, it seems, is he's got a lot of information in the sort of the likes of how a film is made. He doesn't just say this is Jaws, but you go into a lot of descriptions about how it was released on things like Laserdisc and even in projector, and he's quite fascinating that, because I remember one of the first things I ever saw, it was probably in a comic somewhere, you could own a projector reel of Jaws to watch, and I thought at that point there was no such thing as physical media. you would have to go to the pictures if you wanted to see a film if it was running. And things like Jaws would come in the pictures every now and again, but once it finished the run, they wouldn't come back that much. You may get an odd showing in that, so you would never see a film. Then it got put in the telly eventually. So for me, his take on stuff, you know, the whole going into the in depths of the different releases, and he does a lot. He's done the 2001, a Blade Runner, but he does a lot of fascinating. It's like a sort of little, not a documentary, but if you're liking it to, if you bought, like say, Jaws or Blade Runner, and it had a little bit of a special features, like a little sort of like documentary about, you know, a sort of home media releases of that particular title. That's the type of thing that will go on there. And he's got a great setup, and he's a nice bloke. He seems to know what he's talking about. He's been around, so he knows all this stuff from way back. It's not as if he's just fresh face or no. This is stuff that he's brought with him for years. I think he's been in movie collector clubs and all that type of thing. But I've just sort of bumped into his channel in the last week or so, and I've been very taken with it, and I do want to go out and check more stuff. I haven't reached out to him in any way, shape or form, but what I do know is that I do want to check out more of his stuff. And also, he hasn't got many subscribers, 200 and odd, which I think is quite strange, because his stuff in there, maybe he's just flying under the radar, because with having the title like movie collector, maybe there's a lot, and it doesn't sort of get him into the place where he should be. I thought he'd have thousands of subscribers, but if you check his channel out and subscribe to him, I do think that you'll be impressed with it. You know what I mean when you go there, to think that what a setup this fella has. So Movie Worm and Movie Collector, I recommend them both. So anyway, thanks very much for watching this video, and thanks very much for Tony for getting this competition going, and respect for you getting 1,000 subscribers. You fully deserve it, because your channel is excellent, and your stuff that you put in your channel is excellent. Very watchable. And so you take care, and I'll see you next time.